Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestlePass. What episode are we on?
Episode 50.
Yeah, boy! Hey, and as you can tell, we got a party for episode 50 of Vapormore Podcast with Chip Boys, WrestlePass, Peach, and Walt. Peach is not here, but we had to replace him for episode 50. We could not. Yeah. We had to go big, so we brought it. Yeah, that might be WrestlePass. We found the name. Wrestling Society X, Rest in Peachy.
There you go.
But no, we have a gaggle of people here today. So let me introduce the panel we have for this special episode of Vapormore Podcast. So first to my left, Big Roy.
Hello,
from
everybody. How we doing? What's going on?
As you remember from our Royal Rumble predictions episode.
What a disaster of a show.
That was a great show. I think it's our highest rated episode.
Is it really?
Yeah, Meltzer gave it 5 stars.
Oh my god.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
Exactly. But let's be real, Meltzer's rating system now goes up to like 15 or whatever.
Yeah, he's had those motherfuckers out there.
So, Big Roy, thank you for joining us this morning.
Glad to be here.
And thank you for hosting as a last minute.
Welcome.
As a last minute.
4540.
Yep. So, sitting right next to Big Roy, someone new on the podcast, but an avid listener, which we always appreciate. Carlos
What's
is
up,
here.
guys?
Carlos, how you doing today?
Carlos.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining. And then on the opposite side of the table, because we actually do have a square table discussion, which is very exciting.
It's nice to see everybody's face.
We have Allen here.
What's going on, everyone?
So Allen is a fan of the podcast, but also did a podcast with Mike Restpass with Greg Hall from We Podcast and We Know Things a while ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was a
it
long
was.
time ago. I got drunk at that cellar, so it was a great time. So I'm sure you've probably seen this in the episode description, but why do we have so many people here for episode 50?
Hold on, wait. I'm also here.
Oh my god! I think it's
I know you asked me what episode it was, but I'm also here. Okay, go ahead, Will.
Thank you.
Mike
Thank
didn't
you.
get the introduction.
Well, I did. I asked him how he was doing today.
Well, you know, after 50 episodes, you got to keep the marriage. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you got to keep
honeymoon
it.
phase is over, all right, sweetheart. No, but so we brought everyone together to obviously discuss the most important topics of the day.
Yeah.
13 years, $330 million.
We got him.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, there we go. We did it, boys. I'm gonna say this now. World Series, we won. That's so crazy.
Exactly.
You know, it says evergreen. We're gonna.
We can tie it in because
Yeah,
WWE does send out a championship belt to the World Series champs.
Yeah, there we go.
Philly's logo on that. Bryce Harper carrying it. Oh, done. I'm wetting my pants right now.
This is not going to age well if we don't win. Like, if in these 13 years we don't. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if any of these podcasts are.
Yeah.
If we're being serious. So, we brought everyone together today to discuss Wrestling Society X.
Ooh,
we were talking about it beforehand, and we don't know how. We can't figure out how or why we got onto the topic of wanting to discuss Wrestling Society X. But it was such a very niche wrestling promotion that existed on MTV. I think it was in 2007. It recorded in 2006, but aired ultimately in 2007.
Oh my god, a whole year. I didn't realize that. A whole year to...
it was a couple months. I think it was November or October they recorded. Didn't release it until middle of January or something like that. It was a 10-episode series where they didn't even air the last episode because of how bad it was doing, I guess. But it's a little over 10 years since it's been there, but it has been getting some... People call it out for specific things. I know the biggest comparison it gets is Lucha Underground. Yeah. Lucha Underground seems to mimic kind of what Wrestling Society X was doing with kind of the overtopness that it was. And then also looking at it, we had... all the stars that are stars today, well-known names, that was in Wrestling Society X, which I didn't even realize until I was going through and watching it.
I believe when you just mentioned Lucha Underground, they filmed Wrestling Society X in the same building Lucha Underground was filmed in also.
Really?
You could tell by the windows. If you look up top, it's very minuscule to notice, but it's the same warehouse / studio that they recorded Lucha Underground.
Same episode structure too. At least that's what I got from an interview with Kevin. He was listening on an interview. We're like, "What's the difference?" He's like, "The difference is El Rey gives a shit."
Yeah.
Or at the time, then I don't know now.
MTV was just trying to. El Rey only gives a shit when it's contracts, and they don't want to let people out of their contracts.
Exactly.
But MTV kind of just tried to jump on the wrestling bandwagon, I guess, at the time in 2007. You know, that was such a hot year for wrestling.
Years after what? Sunday Night Heat was off the channel and shit like that.
So we decided we're kind of just going to review it. So everyone in this room, for the most part, has watched every episode, right, guys?
Correct.
Yes, of course.
100%.
Oh man, some people haven't watched all the episodes or anything like that, but as you would expect in this podcast, we're gonna just wing it and figure it out.
Well, it feels like war. Like it feels like we're trying to run to like the end, and not all of us made it.
I definitely did not.
So let's just talk, and we'll go through like episode by episode. Like, so is there anything? We'll start off just kind of as a general thing. Like, you guys saw constant themes or anything like that through Wrestling Society X that you actually liked? That would be really cool to bring back in, like, to like modern day wrestling promotions.
Well,
I really had to think about it. I was like,
I will say this. So I never knew about this until I get this text from Mike Pressbase saying, "Hey, we're going to do this, podcast on Wrestling Society X," and I kind of, raised my eyebrows on it. But then I watched the first episode, and my initial thought was like, "What the fuck is this? This is, this is god awful." But then the more I watched it, I was like, what it takes me back to, just the old school wrestling shows. Like, you might get a half an hour to 40 minutes. The promos are, edited in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it definitely did take me back to, old school wrestling in that capacity. You know what I'm saying? The cheesy subplots.
That's exactly it. The best way I described it is Saturday morning wrestling. Saturday morning wrestling.
I was trying to think of the network. I was like, was it on Fox? And was it?
It was Fox.
It was Fox.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, here in Philly, it was Fox.
Yeah, Superstars.
So very very gimmicky all the way out. So we kind of talked about it earlier. So basically, they would kick off every episode in the same manner. The announcers would come in.
Okay.
I really here's the thing.
That fucking ring announcer is...
Oh my god,
dude!
Hold on. So the ring announcer, and this was my fun fact that I was going to bring up. So his name is pulling up. It's like Fabian Keelan or something like that. So now you might not know, and this is actually a tag team I think you would like, Roy, especially when you were talking to the gimmicky and stuff like that. The Vaudevillains.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the guy, their intro? Gather round, everyone. Same guy.
That's him?
Because he works at the Performance Center.
Yeah, same guy does
Jesus,
so,
that was...
So the ring announcer for Wrestling Society X is the same one that did the Vaudevillains intro. I'll have to show you after this.
Yeah.
It was, basically, it was exactly like they were like a bad guy, like, carnival team, like, the the one guy, Simon Gotch, he wore, like, the Andre the Giant, like, strongman, one arm.
Very strongmanish.
Yeah, very strongmanish. Like, their gimmick in the ring was, it was great.
What, are
like,
they wrestlers? Or
they weren't bad.
Okay.
Yeah, English is good, and I always was a big fan of Gotch, because... I don't know, his in-ring work was always cool, like how he transitioned, like, holds and stuff. Because he stayed in character.
Yeah, it was so it was very gimmicky in that sense, but I love... But yeah, Fabian is the guy that does their... that was my interesting fact of the day.
I didn't read that yesterday. I just saw Performance Center, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, that... Like,
he gets... And then, later in the episodes, not to jump too far ahead... They start dressing them up in different costumes.
Yes,
like orange shit. Yeah, I'm like,
you gonna murder somebody?
Well, that's I think the plan was to make him
some kind of
more of a character
because
that was the point.
The episode 8 or 9.
Yeah,
right?
Not that we were going too far ahead of ourselves, but the 10-minute draw. Where the announcers are like yelling at him, like, "Why are you stepping in on this?" But
that was the last aired match, by the way.
Yeah, that was 9, right?
That was 9. Okay. Yeah. It was a 10-minute draw is what that show ended on completely.
I love my note for that. What the fuck? Just what the fuck? 2 exclamation points.
So it starts off with the two broadcast announcers, which they were more annoying to me than the actual ring announcer guy.
They grew on me a little bit though.
Yeah. But then what was I gonna say? But then they would introduce like the musical guests. So we watched this all off YouTube. I think I don't think.
I didn't get to see the musical guests.
They cut out on the YouTube one. They cut out the musical guests, which is weird that MTV would cut out music from something.
Yeah,
especially
in 2007. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's right. I think that set them up pretty good. But then they would introduce the musical guests. So like the first one was Zakk Wylde, which I thought he was good as like a commentator on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't too bad. He seemed like he was a fan.
And then going on throughout the series, I forgot that the musical guests were even in the booth.
Some of them were rough.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll talk when the episode comes. But.
But I will say the one thing that I actually had read about the announcers, I couldn't stand any of them. The announcers, the ring announcer, I couldn't stand any of them. I did find out that the guy that tried to be funny that whole time was actually MTV's choice.
With the dude with the shorter
hair? They wanted a comedian, and they had a list, and basically that was the guy they picked. So he wasn't a guy with any real wrestling knowledge. So as annoying as all those jokes were, at least reading that, about halfway through watching episodes, I was like, all right, he's not as bad now that I know that he was kind of forced on them. He's there to kind of crack jokes.
Their hands and their influence is such a part of the show. You can tell, it's like, it almost looks like, especially after listening to the interview with the dude who created it, he was at an impasse, it seemed like. It seemed like MTV wanted to do certain things, certain ways, and when episode 4 is the most controversial one, as when I was listening to the interview, and that, caused such a hullabaloo. It was so crazy for all the problems with the main event, and, the one spot that gets, blurred out, but that didn't air original TV, so
I know what we're talking about.
It made Kevin Dunn look good.
So we have to the big explosion. There was a big explosion at the beginning of every episode.
I don't know what's worse, the explosion or the fucking camera work.
I was trying to figure out which explosions were real. I think the ones out of the fire or the post were real, but I think everything else was CGI.
Oh yeah. There's that bling table at one point, and I looked up, I was like, Did you add bling in the air in post?
And it was a ladder too. They did it with a ladder. So the first episode, the main event of that so the first match was Matt Seidel versus Jack Evans, which Matt Seidel is Evan Bourne. I don't know, Roy, if you were following around. He's big in the indies now. He was just a big name. I was like, holy shit! It was a good match.
It was fun.
Yeah, I didn't. That's the one I didn't rate, of course.
2019 Walton is oh wow, I actually appreciate this wrestling more than just the gimmickry stuff.
I think that's to interject. My biggest takeaway from this is it's cool to see so many stars of now or veterans of now, either in their prime or just starting. Because there's an endearing quality when we get to whatever episode the group do it for her.
Oh yeah,
when they show up and you see a certain champion, and it's oh man, and his whole thing is screaming metal, and I was like, man, this is fun to watch, man. It's like watching a baby walk for the first time. It's we're gonna get there, buddy.
So then I forget if there were any other matches, but the main event of that was the Wsx Rumble.
Yes.
So it was a 10-person Rumble. And you had to climb a ladder to claim the contracts, but you couldn't climb the ladder. Here's the thing: you couldn't climb the ladder until all 10 participants entered, but then you were eliminated if you were thrown over the top rope. I'm watching that now. I'm just I really like this gimmick. I think this is something fun that could be incorporated nowadays. Pretty cool.
Yeah, try to get as many people out as you can before the 10th person comes in. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I had little notes and the promo work. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of they had that whole promo where New Jack was just calling out that one dude Hamrick, and that he just gets pushed and that's it.
Well, the biggest problem was it was episode 1, and I feel like they were continuing feuds that didn't happen. They just threw so much at you at the beginning.
Yeah.
And if they were going to do this match, they should have never had the Seidel Jack Evans match. They just shouldn't have.
No.
I felt like that was wasted. They should have did lead-ins, how did these guys get in the match kind of thing. And you only got a half an hour. And really it's 19 minutes with commercials and everything. And
this is the first introduction for a lot of people for a lot of things.
Well, that's what I noticed with the promos is that they were trying to use... the promos were... older guys that people would recognize.
Yeah.
Just Incredible. New Jack.
Yeah.
Teddy Hart.
Yeah, Teddy Hart. I think
X-Pac, Six-Pac.
Yeah, Six-Pac.
Aguilar, yeah.
Which I love the clever way they incorporated his name there.
Yeah.
6 and then Pac, X-Pac. I was like, that good for them.
I mean, it essentially had the same outfit on. It was just
exactly.
different wording on it.
But that's kind of go back a little bit on the Seidel match. I know you said you loved it. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Because the camera work was awful.
The camera work is terrible. Like, they keep going to the crowd.
The fake
you're missing the action.
The fake crowd noise turned me off on it, too. It was clear as day it was fake crowd noise. There was about 12 people standing there watching it, yet those boos were louder than the announce team.
I wouldn't be surprised if the announcers were probably recorded after the match.
And probably, but the way they did it was just, you could tell they were just trying to be like quick action. Like the one thing I wrote down, it reminded me of American Ninja Warrior or whatever. That's what it reminded me. Just quick cuts. I didn't even get to see the ref. You can't hear the ref counting.
The mechanic? I didn't realize that.
But like you didn't see the ref on any of the angles for pins. Half the time when guys won matches, I wouldn't even have known had they not rung the bell afterwards that there was actually a 3 count.
There's no hard cam.
Yeah, and it was all over the place. They were showing the crowd who were not reacting to the match.
Yeah,
halfway through a move. It's kind of turned me off to the show more than the match. The match could have been a hell of a lot better had it happened maybe 4 or 5 episodes in when they figured it out.
I equated it to like all pretty much movie buffs, like watching Batman Begins, and like we're like, oh, let's see it from like the bad guys' standpoint. Like, no, can I see Batman like knock the hell out of these mobsters? Like, I don't want these quick camera cuts. Like, I wrote that like camera angles suck.
Yeah.
And then my next note is like awesome transition with Lizzie where she's on all fours. Evan uses her to hit the tornado DDT on Seidel. 630 splash for the win. I was like, that's awesome.
That was funny too. Like I was just like, I saw Jack Evans pull out the 630. I'm just like, Ricochet does that now. This is great. Here's like all those complaints that you had. Like I agreed with, but I kind of just took it back and I'm like, this is fun. Like I'm not taking this as serious as what like it. I was just like, this is ridiculous and absurd, and I'm fine with watching it just because I know like. It's consistent all across the board.
I think no crowd shots. I think the match would have been like still too quick. Like, there's never enough time for anything in this whole series. But I think without the camera angles showing the crowd, which are just plants apparently from reading on the Wikipedia, a lot of them are just expensive as like models and people in LA.
Yeah.
It would have been better. I think it would have been a lot better. It still would have been like a spot fest, and
that's all.
Yeah,
that's
all
it was. But I think that's the best way to describe the entire things was just spot fest.
Yeah,
but that was the biggest problem. You see, at one point, it was literally they showed Lizzie Valentine the match from a different angle 2 seconds later, then the announce team, then back to the match, then the crowd, then Lizzie, then the match, and I was like, what the hell, dude? I just spent 2 minutes and seen 17 different shots. I don't know how the hell I don't know. It was giving me a headache at one point to watch it.
I was watching a review of the whole series on a whole on YouTube, and the guy I was listening to, Brian Zane, he was like, not to disparage anyone, but he's like, this is the closest thing I can feel to what ADD might be like. He's like, I don't mean to offend anyone. He's like, this is the closest thing I can see to someone having ADD. He's like, this camera work is jarring and it hurts.
Cause I just want to say how appreciative I am of your preparation for this episode. Yeah. I just want to call it out. Yet majority of us, I'm in front of a laptop, so I can sneak some stuff here since I'm recording. 2 of us are on cell phones, and one of us has a cup of coffee. Carlos has a full, 5-page written documentary on everything.
We didn't even get into the thick of them.
Oh, you wrote down notes?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just going through. I thought you were going through Wikipedia.
I was going to eventually transition over to my phone, and I was like, my kid woke up, and I was like, fuck it.
I feel like this is the episode that Mike turns heel to, by the way. Because I'm seeing the end. It's just gonna snap by the end of this thing.
It's like I saw you were looking at that girl.
So the Rumble match, I love the way that gimmick worked. Like I think it'd be really cool to incorporate somehow.
Yeah.
Like a Rumble, and then once everyone's in the match, that's like it's similar to War Games. Like it looks like they kind of took like the Rumble and War Games and kind of mashed them together, and this is what you ended up getting with
and
a
Japanese death match.
Yes.
Everything.
I forgot about
that was the part that turned that match off
Really?
Was the extra shit in the outside.
I didn't mind it, honestly. Because
it was just like, hey, look at this electrical thing, and then they fell out on it, and it was clearly fake as hell.
And it blew up.
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. I loved it.
I'd rather watch I don't know. It was too much.
Too many hazards,
It was too many things. It was like, oh, look, this is episode 1. We want to get people to watch this. Let's get as many names that we can afford to bring in so people know them. And then let's add
that budget for Just Incredible.
Then let's add every element to a match that fans love and just squish it all together in 15 minutes.
It seemed like the show had a budget, like a decent sized budget with all like this gimmicky stuff, but they didn't use it right.
I said it's like
they have pyro. WWE doesn't even have pyro anymore.
No, I know. And this is a small environment. I think what the whole set felt like was like a wrestling promotion created by Jigsaw.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys want to play a game? He's like, I heard there was work here. Who am I wrestling tonight? Oh, fuck it. I don't know. Go ahead.
I like the entrances. It's just like there's no real entrance ramp. It's like this dude's coming up from a fucking upper room on a ladder.
Yeah, this skinny pip just came through the weird exit. He's going to climb down the ladder.
Jack Evans parkours down the side of a scaffolding thing. It's like, what the fuck?
One comes through the crowd. It's
It was fun. So the winner of your Rumble match was Vampiro and Six Pac.
Yeah,
they were gonna fight for your WSX championship.
Yeah, what was it? There was 2 contracts on the chains.
Yeah, again, I love the concept. I'm watching it. I'm just like, I want them to incorporate this today, like somehow, like in WWE or something like that. Like,
now, was anybody else bothered that New Jack was never technically eliminated?
Correct, yes.
He went through the middle rope, they show him go through the middle rope, and then the referee just is like, all right, you're out.
Well, let's be real, it's New Jack, so they didn't want him to actually murder someone. That is a legitimate possibility.
Now, maybe he was supposed to go over the top rope, and he just forgot.
Well, I had that
but
note.
It was clear
there's weird botches. Like, there's weird botches throughout the whole thing, and then I have, I don't know how familiar you guys are with AAA.
A little bit, by name.
Yeah, I wrote for like number 4 who came out, Vampiro. I was like, at least they're playing his music.
They had his music?
No, because I just remember him freaking the hell out, like the last pay-per-view that anybody saw him on. He's like, "Hey man, you should go fight him."
This is a dumb question, and you guys might know. Is Vampiro one of the announcers for Lucha Underground?
Yeah.
He was okay.
Yeah, him and Striker.
That's what it was. Okay, I thought it was Vampiro, but I wasn't 100%.
He looks totally different now.
Oh yeah, he's so. Alrighty, so any other comments on episode 1?
Just going back to the New Jack thing, I mean, it was definitely like they brought a New Jack. It was like, hey, do you want to do this? How much are you going to pay me? Okay, come in the ring, go in, put the guy through the table, and leave. What was he in, like 2 more episodes, mayy? If that.
I don't
think New Jack shows up again yet.
Yeah.
He's one and done. So does
him and Just Incredible.
Only
that.
Such a paycheck. Just Incredible would have been fine going deeper in if they were able to keep him.
Well, again, I guess
he could work. That's why.
Kind of go off the interview that I read. They said their biggest thing was they wanted to pull the crowd in by putting names, and then they wanted to kind of promote the young guys from there on out. So it was kind of like MTV, kind of pushing, hey, bring some name guys in, and then you could see as the episodes went on that MTV was less and less involved. And that's probably why it lasted 10 episodes.
And like this is something like when you put it in this frame of reference, and like we'll discuss it throughout. They're bringing in these named guys to bring up these up and comer guys. The named guys they brought in was Vampiro, X-Pac, Just Incredible, New Jack, all these guys. Your new name guys that you're bringing up. Tyler Black, Jimmy Jacobs, Joey Ryan, Scorpio Sky, who the hell else was it? Matt Seidel.
Yeah. Those got the most
Matt Cross.
Matt Cross,
that was a big
Teddy Hart.
Teddy Hart, yeah, because he just got off his stint for WWE right that time, right?
Yeah. But it's just so funny, like, that's the names that were brought in for now. Look at the hell these young guys are, where the hell they're at now.
Yeah.
Joey Ryan flips people with his penis, and that was so upsetting to see. I think it was in episode 2. Was he?
They show up. They show up there in episode 2. Yeah.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we'll move over to episode 2. The main event for this one was the WSX champion Six Pac versus Vampiro.
Can't get a clear shot of that belt. Thank you, ResPass, for showing me it. I was like,
yeah.
what does the belt look like?
I had to Google it. It looks like a cool belt. It looks like
It's the Smoke and Skull belt.
Yeah, basically.
It's almost exactly the Smoke and Skull belt. It's a big skull in the middle of it.
I thought it reminded me of the current NXT Championship with the Smoking Skull mixed together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could kind of see it. Like, shape-wise and stuff. Yeah.
They definitely... It was about, 10 years after the Smoke and Skull belt was introduced?
Yeah.
It was way after the Smoke and Skull belt was as good as gone. And that's what they came up with.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's a very original
font and
title.
everything.
Yeah.
Font and everything.
Exactly. That just shows you how up with the times they were.
Yeah.
That something that was cool in '98 they were doing in 2000 or what was it?
Like X-Pac.
Yeah. Yeah, Vampiro was the only one that I thought that kind of made sense. As far as them kind of built, because you need a name in there, you need somebody that people kind of know.
He was supposed to be their Undertaker.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he was there for. So, but so in episode 2, I was more concerned when I saw the '70s team because then I hear like Joey Ryan. Yeah. So, have you seen any of Joey Ryan's stuff, Roy?
Oh, man.
Talk
about characters, man.
Yeah, this isn't even a joke. If you guys want to touch on it, I'll try to pull up a video without being too loud to show Roy of what Joey Ryan currently does.
He's in wrestling now?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's one of the big, he's one of like the bigger independent guys.
Yeah.
Okay. But like that Magnum PI, like kind of
Tom Selleck
thing that he was going for.
How about that the early starts of his like baby oil?
Yes, exactly.
He's sponsored by Pornhub, if that tells you by anything.
Yeah. Oh Christ.
Yes. So.
Yeah, him showing his ass in every match.
Yes,
episode. I was like,
God, this is nothing compared to what he's doing right now.
I was like, this is the best running gag. Like, you guys actually have a running gag. This is awesome. This is actually really cool. Yeah, I saw him and then the disco machine.
The disco? Who?
Yeah.
Wait, was he in anything?
You know what? He actually, I looked him up.
That's his finish.
One of the 6 founders of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So he's trained like and helped out like Bucks and all these people like kind of get over. I could tell in the ring like he was solid, but he's definitely one of those dudes like. Oh, you're more of a teacher then.
Yeah, they were good. Like, who'd they face? Who was?
It was the second match.
Dragon Gate.
That's Team Dragon Gate. Yeah.
But it was really cool for me to see Joey Ryan because I love Joey Ryan's a completely gimmick wrestler, not in a bad way.
It's great to see that he was always a gimmick wrestler too.
It
was always the inhaler, and then his ass got shown. I laughed.
Well, he does I think he still does the inhalers.
Really?
I think I've seen it somewhere before, more recently.
It's nice, man. Like it's like the baby steps of like we have the Matt Cross. Like that's who I got excited for first, and then Joey Ryan. I was like, this is awesome. I was like Joey Ryan / Baby Joey Ryan. He's like the beginning of everything that he's so big now.
I showed Roy Joey Ryan flipping Cody Rhodes with his penis, and that's what he does now. Like he had a
that's an NWA World Heavyweight
current wrestler about basically who has the biggest stick, Hangman Page, and Hangman Page killed.
Wait, I mean, honestly, how can you have a name Hangman Page and not have the biggest penis?
Right. I mean, to be fair, his logo's a stallion. Like you gotta go with it. It just that move doesn't work on his wife. That's all.
Hangman Page killed Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan resurrected at like the indie wrestling pay-per-view All In, and came out with guys dressed in penis costumes as druids, and then carried Joey Ryan out of the. It's really hard to describe.
I mean, this is
I was trying to explain.
What are you guys watching?
I was trying to explain it to my wife, and she looked at me. She was like,
"That is the clip though that I've said like that. Like, if I want to show somebody what is professional wrestling, that's the clip I show people. I think I said it when we did it all.
How much of a toll professional wrestling is on the body?
Yes, just like.
Oh, you know what? Not to get completely off topic here, but you said you were wondering how we came up with this. I'm pretty sure it was during the AEW like rumor episode that we did.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't know what the name was. I think we did something early on, but I think we kind of transitioned from that to this.
Maybe.
Like, I know it was completely off. It was just because we were talking about All In.
Car crash.
Yeah, we were talking about All In, and I'm trying to get you back on topic here.
So that led into ultimately WSX Championship match, Vampiro versus...
Random casket match.
I don't think... No, it wasn't a casket match.
No, it's just there's one there.
No, the rules are, I know in WSX, you could pin them anywhere. I don't know if anyone caught that.
Yeah.
So,
I caught that in episode 7.
Yeah, they announced it way deep into the episode.
Because I have I'm trying to keep it like in my notes like fairly decent, and then like I get to like episode 6 when they start introduces someone gets pinned on the outside. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, also Force too, like how they're like, oh, and by the way, in these rules, falls count anywhere. Like, it's like
they also stop and mention like, why? Why would you? There's no rules. Why would you?
But it was that match that you're talking about. Literally, he tried to pin somebody outside once.
Yeah.
They didn't say a word, and then he tried it again, and they were like, "As you know, we can." Like, he's already did it once. Like, we kind of got the concept by this point.
We're trying to keep kayfabe alive.
I think on the Wikipedia, the best sentence that describes Wrestling Society X as a whole is. Vampiro defeated Six Pac with a tombstone pile driver inside an exploding coffin to become first WSX champion.
That's exactly how it happened.
It sounds like a game of Fighting Force.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god!
It was like 4 or 5 minute match. Like it wasn't bad. Like I was just like, I didn't know I don't know much about Vampiro, but they said like in the beginning, I was like, oh, he always has a casket ringside at match. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it wasn't like that in WCW.
I'm like, that. The funny thing is, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it, they clearly show the casket on the outside. They're getting ready for the match, and they go to a commercial break, and it comes back in. They go during the break. They brought a casket out to the ring, and the casket's been sitting there the whole time. Yeah. Literally before they went to a commercial. I guess I picked up on little stupid shit like that where I was like, "Come on."
So what bothered me at the end of that match was when Vampiro tombstoned him. We obviously knew for us, we obviously knew Vampiro was going to win, but you had the commentary goes, "Who's the actual champion? Who's the actual winner? Whose hand is that?" I'm like, we know it's Vampiro.
Yeah.
I weirdly liked that. I did actually. That was like the one time where I was like, oh, they actually did something right on commentary. Like, you're supposed to play stupid on commentary a little bit. So, and in my mind, I was like, that was like the first time where I was like, oh, well, like, they actually acknowledged, like, oh, we're not supposed to know who it is. Oh, wait, who is it?
But the thing is, you clearly see Six Pac's head being driven into that casket.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was both of them falling at the same time, I get why the commentator would be stupid, but clearly you see Vampiro was on the offense at the end of that.
And who knew that Vampiro kept explosives in his coffin?
Yeah, at all times.
What a guy.
At all times.
So, as of this point, yeah, your champion is Vampiro.
Yeah, I mean, it's an alright choice. It's not bad. I mean,
he's not for what they were building here. It's a somewhat name. I think it took them away from giving it like to the fully like their most popular guy was X-Pac.
Yeah.
But like it didn't just give it to him. It gave it to like another guy to possibly get people interested in or whatever like that. But as I'm looking at the things and the ratings are going down and down and down, I'm like, oh well, that didn't work obviously. So. So, anything else on episode 2, or are we going to move to episode 3?
3, let's...
3?
Yeah.
So, we're all ready to move to the tables, ladders, and cervezas match?
Oh, my God.
With
man.
With what, Steroid Andrade and Spanish Tyson Kidd? And...
So, yeah, so it's funny, like, in the Wikipedia, it has it linked, but it's like, oh, this is actually a tables, ladders, and chairs match. It's like, oh.
No, it's not.
Well, because at one point, they, like, does, like, a drop toe hold or something, or not a toe into a six-pack.
Yeah.
That was a cool spot.
But it was...
Some of the names, man, are just so weird.
So, Carlos, you want to run over your notes, because I forget what the ridiculousness of this match.
I mean, like it was set up because Aguilar just keeps hitting on chicks.
Episode 2, yeah.
Yeah, he just keeps hitting on chicks. Chaos keeps getting messed up. He's the guy who got hit in episode 1 into the electrical box, which is fucking ridiculous. Okay, but yeah, Aguilar's never there for Chaos. Chaos is getting pissed, and so he's like, "Nah, fine, we'll do this. We'll wrestle for cervezas against Alcatraz and Luke Hawk." I was like, okay. And my notes on here: bad selling, and 1 out of 4 stars. No, it was weird. Like Chaos looks like he took most of the brunt of the match, and kind of held the match on his own. It seemed like every time they had a match, he was the one. And I was like trying to think of Aguilar when he was in WWE as Jesus. I'm like, I don't remember any of his matches being ever so.
Who was he?
He was Jesus. He was
he stabbed
Carlitos, yeah.
Like bodyguard.
Yeah. He stabbed John Cena.
Okay.
That's one of the notes. I was like, when did he stab John Cena? This is 2007. So is he on the? Was he in the Lamb?
But was that a real stabbing? Because I don't know. I've heard mixed.
No, I think something happened. I remember, but then they played it off that he was at a Boston club and he got stabbed.
Oh, okay.
So.
When he was still a rapper. Let's not forget that.
But yeah, I remember there was like a drop toe hold on like the basic onto like a 6-pack of bottles. I was like, oh, that actually looks like it might have hurt.
Yeah, I wanted to like slow it down with YouTube, so it sucks. But I got worried like as his face was getting close because like the bottles are still like up. And I was like, is this gonna be like a Dark Knight situation?
Yeah.
That's going in his eye.
So.
Well, that's not even the best match, which that's the sucky thing. Like, the Trailer Park Boys and the Filth and the Fury is amazing.
Was that on this episode?
Yeah. That was the first match of the night after the bad Vampiro promo.
And then who's Hart's partner in that Filth? That's him, right?
Matt Cross.
Yeah, okay.
And Teddy Hart.
Teddy Hart, he really had some good matches on this show. I mean, he was...
Dude, yeah. He was always destined to, like... And he just never...
It's weird.
Matt Cross, like, it was weird seeing Matt Cross when, like, their first promo came up, because I noticed him now, because I've seen him at, like, a couple indie shows that we've gone to. Jacked, full beard, and I'm just like, wait a minute, is this the same Matt Cross that I've seen matches before? He had a match... Oh, who the hell did he have a match? I want to say I saw a match with him against Austin Aries. And maybe House of Hardcore. I might have been House of Hardcore or something. It was really fucking good. He had a match with what's his name at All In, TJF or what?
MJF.
That's right. Yeah, I was watching it over your place. I was like, damn, this is good, man. That's how I heard of him. That was the first match I saw. And then
Matt Cross?
Yeah, and then I saw some stuff online, and then seeing him here as like baby Matt Cross. I'm like, man, you always had like hooking him up with Teddy Hart. It's a really good thing because Teddy Hart at that point is still like a veteran in a way. He just never hit it big because of his steroid abuse and stuff.
Yeah, that will hinder you sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But like I wrote for that match, like good chain wrestling. Cradle DDT is awesome because I was like,
it was really
how he hit it. It was just like I don't know. It was something about it was really cool. Canadian Destroyer, even though. They didn't call it.
It was a Tiger driver.
Oh, that wasn't it? Yeah.
Tiger Canadian Destroyer.
Because I had like a question mark. I was like, was that a Canadian Destroyer? I was like, I went back and they kept saying Tiger. I was like, I don't see the arms. I don't know why. I guess shitty camera angle.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised.
It was really cool to see that though.
I loved
from what I saw.
Cross's shooting star leg drop.
Yes.
Jesus, that was awesome. I was like, oh my god, people need to start doing that more. I mean, you could mess up.
I've always wished they'd done more like Fandango, just for example. He does like his leg drop off the top rope. I always wish he'd do it into a flip or something like that. Just like to switch
it up hang time.
Yeah.
So my thing about this match.
Which one?
The Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the Filth and the Fury. The one thing I had on here, the one thing I liked was they had promos the week before.
Yes.
For both of them. So, you had a little bit of setup. Like, they're now 3 episodes in. They both had promos the week before. Mm-hmm. Watching it straight through, I was like, okay, I kind of understand these teams. This was the match where they finally announced you can be pinned anywhere. Yeah. That's why I have on here. I go, like, the second attempt, they finally tell you, oh, by the way, there's no mats on the outside, and you can be pinned anywhere, any place in the arena. Then I had the jumping around cameras were not as bad. This is when it started to get better on this episode until Teddy Hart electrocuted one of the guys.
That's why. So I had that like these stunts are stupid. Like it was literally a 4-star match for me. That happened. I was like 3.
Is that the one when the guy's laying on and he's dousing him in water?
Yeah, he electrocuted him, then he doused him in water, and then electrocuted him in water.
As you know, water
thanks. No shit, Miss Frizzle. Thanks.
Miss Frizzle. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was not expecting a magic school reference. That's what I'm just like, oh, so this is a science lesson now. This is incredible.
Also, another, to kind of go back to the main event, after everything was done, right? I have a note here. Where the fuck did they get those sandwiches? And it's not until
that's right.
Yes, I was like, yeah.
The announcers are eating sandwiches. There's some type of advertisement.
And then it's Quiznos.
Was it Quiznos?
It's like I forget how many episodes later. I'm like, Quiznos?
The next episode or 2 episodes later, they start.
Jacobs. I remember Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah, he eats a sandwich.
He eats a sandwich. He's like, oh, he has his Quiznos. I'm just like, Okay, maybe.
And then they had this.
Two companies that did last.
It was the Slamwich of the match by Quiznos.
Yeah.
Like every match had the Slamwich, and I was like, oh my god, that must have been what they were eating. But it was so random. They were just like, oh, this sandwich is really good, and then it ended. It was like, what?
Yeah, it's like, so blatant. It's like it's so blatant in not a funny way.
Yeah.
Because you can make it fun, and it's just not. It's just not at all. It's just like.
So I meant to bring this up too and talk about. So the one which in the stuff we watched, they had musical guests, which we didn't see the performances.
Yeah.
But so the first one was Black Label Society, and Zach Wilde joined them on commentary.
Second was 3-6 Mafia.
3-6 Mafia.
What a Phillies hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw that.
Yeah. Oh man.
And they Mark Henry's theme, right? That's them.
3-6 Mafia?
I think so.
Because they're also Oscar winners, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what it was.
That's
like,
I think they also did Mark
They
Henry.
introduced them as that, and I'm just like, oh wow, this show got legitimate. We have
That's right. I was like, we have Oscar winners here, guys. But yeah, no, I forgot. That's also one of my favorite theme songs. So.
And then Sparta was episode
Sparta,
3.
yeah. Shout out to the Electra soundtrack.
That's what I'm not aware of them.
Yeah, I only know like that song. It's like She Stabs, I think is the name. Emo Carlos loved it. He was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Listen, don't worry. Pop Punk Walton's gonna get
Yes.
really into
Oh, man.
What are we talking about?
Get a hard on like episode
Good Charlotte,
8, man.
Quiet Drive, and Newfound Glory. Come on now. Come on now.
But Newfound Glory didn't get it. Was it Newfound
That
Glory
was
10?
unaired. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
unaired.
Well, you know what's crazy? I mean, they fucking did the Quiznos sub to probably pay for episode 10 to get in the budget and then even fucking air it.
I know.
So, yeah.
But this had the Matt Classic promo too.
Yeah, I wrote that.
About this.
I must have missed that then.
That was after match 2, yeah, after the Jack Evans and El Hombre Blanco es enmascarado.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that
The masked white guy, a.k.a.
That's how
Like, that's a terrible name. Holy
I
shit.
feel like every promotion has that. Like so, like they
Everybody has that El Generico.
They took kind of generic gimmicks, and you had your Undertaker gimmick.
Yeah, yeah.
You had your like kind of racist like Mexican and like.
Well, there's
gangs
multiple
and
ones
stuff
because they
like-
had the Cartel and then like
Exactly.
Los
That
Pochos.
was the best name.
I'm like, all right, like we're getting those gimmicks in. You have like a '70s like weird gimmick.
Los Pochos. I looked at that name and I was like, all right. I'm Puerto Rican, guys, so I was like, I don't know this one, so this has to be Mexican. Like, this has to be some Mexican slang. So I looked it up, and I was like, this is a terrible name for people. So Los Pochos Guapos, so they're like the good-looking, basically Mexican dudes that are Americanized. I was like, so it's a derogatory term for Chicanos in that area for like Americanized Mexicans who like left their culture, basically. Like, it's a shitty term.
Wow.
And I was like, why? Are you guys taking it back? Like, what are you doing?
Oh my god, that makes this even worse.
Because I was like, we're going through the promos. I was like, Pocho. I was like, hold on, pause. And I like looked it up and it popped up. I was like, why would you name yourselves that?
So all right. So episode 4 was Carlos. You can do better. What was it? El Hombre. He was the white guy.
Yeah.
It was basically their El Generico.
Which he actually won a PG. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Championship. They actually were tag team champions together.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
I can't imagine what that team looked like. I mean, it was good. He was good in the ring.
He was a bit.
Him and Jack Evans. That was a decent match.
Plus, it was him versus Human Tornado. But was this the one to where that match didn't happen because Six Pac came in? And
Yeah, no contest.
Okay.
6-pack beat up both contestants.
Yes. So what other matches were on this one again?
Seidel was Lizzie versus Scorpio Sky.
Yes, that's right.
And then I'm like, this is the worst town ever.
And this was
you.
literally when like when you have 12 people in the crowd, you don't need a ring announcer screaming everything to get them hyped. And then I said,
him running around
was this the one also with the ring announcer? Was this the one where he had the random stick appear in his hand?
No, that's later on.
Yeah,
Okay.
later.
Because I think I wrote it out, but like,
Yeah, because then he's got the little face paint too, or
It's
whatever.
like Clockwork Orange. Yeah, he's starting to go off the rails. Like we were watching.
And then I said the announcers mentioned how Seidel and Sky have only defeated Matt Classic. I'm at a loss because I don't know when these matches happen.
yeah.
And then I had to look it up and find out there was a whole extra thing that they never talk about on any of the episodes.
They waste Colt Cabana.
They start showing like things that happened on it, and it might have been later on in this episode.
So,
it actually was the very next thing on this episode. They mention it. But
so the one thing I will say is, and maybe it's just the way we watched it, because we all watched it off of YouTube, like whatever YouTube channel, and they've cut it down pretty significantly. Like the music wasn't there, like maybe like it ends up like it sucks, like it's shitty for the way we watch it because we're missing half of this shit. But maybe like on the actual TV, I can only hope that they were actually promoting this stuff.
You would hope so, right? I mean, like they're promoting online content in 2007, which
is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. It's not a great portal for it, but also YouTube's not as big as it is now, where you could be like, hey, don't forget you can watch this on ROH.com or like whatever, or YouTube.com/WWE. You know?
So Roy, real fast from your side, since you're kind of not as much into wrestling today per se,
Correct.
more of that like throwback stuff. What are you thinking of Wrestling Society X so far, from like a gimmicky standpoint? And that smile
3
you
episodes
gave there,
in.
I think is.
I mean, I will. It's. I don't know. I mean, you could say what's the term? About putting 10-pound, trying to fit 10 pounds of shit, 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
Like for instance, and going back to this, forcing stuff. They would have a main event. Pause the main event, go to a promo, a commercial, and then go back to the main event. I'm like,
And then
you're really trying to.
And the commercial has
Quiznos.
Yeah, Quiznos. And the
Slam,
other thing, when they come back, this is what you missed during the commercial. It's like all the best spots. That's not how this works. That's supposed to be the lull period.
It's just not good. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's a filler. It's a time for when they show 10 o'clock, 10 to 10:30.
Yeah, so
10:30.
I'm actually I'm looking at the timeline, and so this episode 4 we're talking about is the last one they actually aired.
That Tuesday's spot.
Well, on that spot, and then the rest of them, because I remember reading about this, is they did a couple episodes, and then the rest of them they just marathoned it off to get them off TV, and this was the last one.
You have to, yeah. Well, I mean, you got Seidel versus Scorpio Sky, which that's the best match of all 10 episodes for me.
I thought so too. I thought that, and it was. I didn't realize Scorpio Sky was in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Scorpio Sky. And I look at him. I was like, man, he looks a lot different than what he looks like. Is it the same guy? And I'm like going to the YouTube. I'm like, they're not mentioning a lot of the SCU stuff on this. Like, is it the same guy? I'm like, shit, yeah, it is. Because then he does a promo afterwards. Like, I guess he was like some high school jock.
Was his thing. Yeah,
was his gimmick. And
him inside out. There's kind of their weird gimmicks where high school.
So, just to give you an idea, Scorpio Sky is kind of like one of the bigger indie teams nowadays. SCU, SoCal Uncensored. They just signed with the new AEW thing, and so he's pretty relevant nowadays. But then, back then, he just was he did not he looked completely different.
He did, yeah. It was great inward work, though, man.
Definitely.
I put everything down, and I just watched it. I was like, this is awesome.
Well, I kind of more watched it too, just because it's like, oh shit, Matt Seidel versus Scorpio Sky. I like both of these guys. I've seen their stuff recently. I was like, let me see what it looked like back in 2007 or 2006 when they first started. But then, the main event was basically 6-Pac coming out, disrupt the match, and then him and Vampiro start fighting or something. Then, what was it, Ricky Banderas? Is that his name?
Yeah, I put, because I know from some stuff from Impact, I was like, Joseph Mazias came out?
I knew he wasn't Impact?
Yeah.
I had no clue. I just put some guy. Because they never even mentioned what his name was, I think. I don't think they don't do it until episode 6.
They don't. Yeah, they do it at the.
They still talk about how they don't know. The next promo, they say we still don't know the identity of this guy,
which is cool.
Yeah.
I like that little mystery behind it.
Is this the big guy with the scar? Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Because he was burned. That's right.
Yeah. It works.
So that you definitely see where they're pulling but that's what everybody does now.
I know,
but
it's just so.
It's so blatant.
Yeah.
But this episode had 2 things cut from it. The one, Joey Ryan gets the disco ball thrown as crotch, his balls, and they don't show it.
I did not.
The announcers say it. They throw the disco ball at him. It's the Keeping It Gangsta team.
Ruckus
Slim and Ruckus.
I thought, because I looked at those guys and I thought one of them was Shad Gaspar from Crime.
I thought so too.
I was like, wait, is this?
I had to double check.
Yeah, Slim, I think, right? Slim was the bigger one.
Yeah, the way he looked, I was just like, it looks. I don't know. I was just like.
But he gets ready to throw the disco ball. And then they cut to the crowd, and then they come back and it's shattered, and they're like, oh, he just threw it at his nuts, or whatever the hell they say on the announcer. But I'm like, why did they cut that from it? It was clear as day that it was cut, because they moved right to the crowd of, some guy picking his nose and then went back to it.
Yeah.
Was this the one you said was the most controversial episode?
No, I did say episode 4, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, it's weird. No, I did say it was episode 5, because...
What happens at the end of this is the fireball that gets blurred out.
Yes, okay. All right, so
I
was right.
Things
Yeah,
got cut from it.
That
was
cut. That was apparently super controversial, which is weird if you think about MTV because they showed Snooki get punched in the face, and
that was after this. Not trying to.
It's close, all right. I mean, what's this? 2007.
2007. Yeah.
West Jersey Shore. 2000.
I thought it was in the.
I thought it was in the. I don't want to go down.
Look it up.
But that's actually funny because then it relates to. I was gonna look it up too.
I think it was 2009.
Okay, let me contribute in some way here with the data.
Yeah. On this episode of Jersey Shore in Review.
It started in 2009. Yeah.
Oh shit! All right. So they were like, Fireball. No. A couple of years later, short Hispanic girl get punched in the face.
Well, no, they showed the commercial, but then when it came to the actual episode, they blacked it out.
Yeah,
I watched it. Sorry.
No, it was like
I was a big fan.
Well, we want to thank everyone for joining in to our Jersey Shore podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Although we can turn it into wrestling because wasn't Paulie D in Impact?
Fuck, he was, right?
And
Snooki was in
WrestleMania. WrestleMania.
Angelina and J-Wow were in Impact.
Yeah, they were too.
Why do I know
Wait,
that?
they actually wrestled?
They did.
Snooki did.
Roddy too was there.
Was he?
And then they all did the what? Why me? Fight me! And they just caught cat.
Snooki was at WrestleMania, and this is complete. I thought she did great.
She was
like
she did what she had to do
for a celebrity appearance. Like she didn't take a bump. She did I guess she did gymnastics and did a flip.
Yeah,
in like a cartwheel into a back spring elbow or something like that. The
only problem with that match, or it's not even the match, was Morrison, right?
Oh yeah,
wasn't he reportedly a dick?
Yeah, because Melina wasn't in it or something like that. But from a match standpoint, it was a terrible position on the card because it was right before this was 25. It was right after the Undertaker Shawn Michaels match, and then right before Batista Triple H versus Orton.
See, this is why I'm out on wrestling currently. That fucking irks me. The mixed cards, like that match has no reason to be after that moment.
I agree.
Yeah. Why do they do that?
It was a filler.
It
was a straight. It was a bathroom break.
It was just deflate everybody from the emotional. After the Undertaker Shawn Michaels match. That's all it was.
It was actually to give Triple H and Orton some time to possibly see how they can one up that match. But all right, well let's go back to Wrestling Society X.
Yes.
Sure. So it's funny, if this is that controversial episode, that makes sense then on why this was the last one broadcast at its normal time, and then they just kind of was like, we'll marathon it. Because then the marathon, it wasn't even like a primetime one. It was like March 13th starting at 11 p.m.
Is that like a Saturday?
Let's find out. March 13th, what year?
2007. I do not have my 2007.
It was a Tuesday night, 11 p.m.
2007, hold on.
Oh, man. So...
That was a Tuesday night.
Jesus!
My God.
That was a Tuesday night.
There's got to be someone who was like, "Oh, I'm pumped. Let's do this, man."
Well, someone set their alarm.
Isn't that's when they aired, right? It was Tuesdays.
Yeah, 10:30. They went up against ECW.
By the way,
it was the second half.
Yeah.
We know you know. We see your Wrestling Society X calendar.
I was actually it's in the back, all the way in the back.
So all right. So episode number 5. It has the Art Cannon versus the Delgado. I don't even know.
Delgado versus Eric Cannon.
Eric Cannon, that's right. Yeah, I saw his
anarchist.
I was just like, he looks terrible. So, but what were the other matches on here?
We got Team Dragon Gate versus the Filth and Fury, which I was actually really excited about.
That was,
I was like, I'm really excited for this match, and it was decent.
That was my favorite, I think, tag team match throughout this whole thing. Even though I wanted to really enjoy the what the hell was their team name?
Cartel?
No. Do It For Her.
Oh, Do
It For Her. I wanted to enjoy it, but I enjoyed this match a lot better.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like I put 3 out of 4 stars for.
He was my favorite wrestler. Teddy Hart and the whole.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I thought he was the best one.
The biggest thing about this match was it was the debut of the Quiznos Slam witch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. At least for our viewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God whoever. Praise be to Jesus, the person who edited that out for us in the first couple matches.
Speaking of Quiznos, anybody remember the Quiznos commercial with that fucking ugly? Was he a sandwich? They were like Quiznos.
Oh yes, holy shit!
It was an online internet meme that they made into Quiznos, and I'm not going to sing because it's going to ruin my throat, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I just want to say, just for our listening audience, #not sponsored by.
Yeah. Sorry.
So,
God, I'm hungry for some Quiznos right now.
So, was there anything else major that happened in this?
Scorpio Sky finally gets to talk, which is nice. I mean, not finally, but like it's just nice because like he's
well, I thought he had a promo in his one. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I think this is maybe the promo. Yeah.
Yeah. 6-Pac versus Human Tornado, second match. Looks like 6-Pac doesn't care. Yeah. He's just like in street clothes.
Oh yeah, that's what I was like.
What are you doing? Yeah, I didn't get that.
He felt like he looked like he had the shirt on from Seinfeld, like the fluffy shirt.
Yes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like that's what I felt like he was wearing.
Is this like the downfall, like when he was like spiraling a little bit, like
probably
in real life?
I'm just assuming he was late.
He was.
Yeah, I'm here to work.
That's all I felt like. That he just got there, and they're like, all right, you ain't got time to change. We have this place booked for 2 hours.
There's a bar mitzvah right after. Like, shit. All right. Was that Team Dragon gets kidnapped? They lost every match at that point.
Reprogrammed.
They got dishonored. Whatever it is.
And it started with the big guy, the unnamed guy. Yeah, where he does a little promo, and they still won't know his name. But he he references the whole how he got the burn on his face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is again that's a decent storytelling. Like,
yeah,
that's better storytelling than some of the stuff like WWE does now.
Yeah.
So like that's where like they kind of started doing that right. So I do want to jump into episode 6 because episode 6 had a lot going for me personally. So you had your musical guest of Good Charlotte. But then you had the Do It For Her versus That 70 team, which in that main event had Jimmy Jacobs, who was a former producer for WWE. I forget where he's working at now.
Impact. He's on Impact.
Is he in Impact?
I think he still is.
He's floating around to a bunch of different...
I thought it was... No, sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's floating around, I think, to a couple different...
Well, they get indie. Now, like, Impact, they're not, like, super tied down.
Yeah.
Like, they can go...
Tyler Black, which is Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
That was really cool to see.
And then,
Grand Slam champion.
And then Joey
Found
Ryan.
a Shield member. Jesus.
No.
That was nuts.
And then they portrayed Jimmy Jacobs with the fucking cell phone walking out, holding it up.
Yeah, man.
Like just trying to hit on all the chicks like as some emo. I'm like,
I love it.
I'm just like,
love it.
I'm like, no, I don't think that's an emo dude. An emo dude would be crying in the corner, not like trying to pick up chicks. And he has his nipples pierced, which I forgot about. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man, this is too much. Then Tyler Black is this ragey, angry metal guy, this is what the one.
Not much has changed. But he just talks better now.
The one thing I didn't get and what I was kind of confused with is I think after their match, it might.
Their promo.
Yeah, I forget if it was this episode or the next episode where they did a promo like referencing this match. Like Jimmy Jacobs is like, "Oh, that girl out there like
it was this one,"
and he's like playing the guitar, and then like. Seth Rollins is getting angry at him, and then he picks up an electric guitar and walks out. I'm like, what
were you guys saying? Yeah, like you guys are your musical because you notice the musical notes change when they speak as well.
Exactly. But I'm just like, you just carry around a guitar to like
both of you do. Why?
I'm just like, what? And then like afterwards, he starts like throat singing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is going? I was like, this guy is main eventing WrestleMania this year with Brock Lesnar.
And this is what his third this is awesome. Like this is amazing.
Right. I think this is where. This is probably tying into some of where I wanted to talk about this. You had this. Like, this was something that was on there. Like, the very early stages of Seth Rollins.
Yeah, is this around the time he was in ROH?
I would know
of him and Jacobs?
Maybe.
So I can't remember when they were in the promotion.
Let's do a little Wikipedia.
I would say yes, because didn't they come, like, around, 2013, 2014?
Yeah, he was...
Yeah.
I will say this was the first episode I realized the refs were basically janitors.
Yeah, I wrote mechanic. I was like, what? He's going to chase some dude's tire afterwards.
It was the Scorpio Sky Evans match. I said, I'm just now noticing the ref wear something that looks like a janitor.
Are they supposed to be like factory workers because they're in a warehouse?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Shit.
Damn.
I mean, I don't know.
When everything done, they're like, all right, this clears up to the
it makes
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe they weren't supposed to be. Maybe they were.
It
really was.
On break.
It was a bunker.
The area essentially where they wrestled was the beginning of Warzone.
Yeah, exactly.
Just have to be explosives everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, it worked.
Speaking of the refs, though, episode of New Jack was in it. Do anybody remember him fucking almost killing the one ref with the guitar?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've never seen fucking.
Well, that's where like New Jack is.
Just don't care.
He is pretty well. I don't know him. God forbid he listens to this. Well, I'm gonna get murdered.
I've seen some YouTube videos of just people.
It's Matt Walton.
New Jack, we'd love to have you on for a sit down with Walton.
And it's nice because Matt Walton's not here. I'm Mike Peachy this week.
There we go.
No, but yeah, he's just not a good person. Because if someone messes up in the ring, people get pissed off, shit like that. He was punching and actually murdering
people. Did he
pull
a knife out or something?
I think so.
The one guy sued him. Did he paralyze him? Remember?
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, yeah. I was like, Jesus fucking Lord.
But so, Carlos, from your notes, what other when I saw this was the main event for this, I was like, this is the one. This is what I'm excited.
Yeah, so I was like, so musical guest Good Charlotte, and they're on both Madden Brothers are on commentary. Yeah, I wrote that. I was like, oh shit, it's kind of big celebrity.
That's where I got confused. I would forget that the musical guests were also on there because halfway through one of the matches I just hear Benji or Joel say something and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's right. Good Charlotte was in this episode.
Exactly, yeah, it's so weird. So it was match 1, Scorpio Sky versus Jack Evans. My first note, just noticed ref looks like he's a mechanic. What the hell happened to the announcers? Some weird dragon sleeper. That was fine. What was it? There's a promo for the Los Pochos and Disco Machine. They just pushed them out. They bitched them out for no reason.
Yeah.
70s Machine, 70s Team versus Do It For Her. I was like, that was awesome. Shitty Quiznos product placement. And then, Team Dragon Gate update. Yeah, we got this footage from, I guess
was this the band? Was this the band?
No, this is after when he spits in their food.
He drinks their water. He brings them water. He drinks the water out of the cups and then spits in the
soup bowl.
Yeah, the bowl in the middle. And then they both go over and try to drink out of empty cups. And then that's basically what happened.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was weird.
It's funny because I feel like it was on a roll there for a while. It wasn't as over the top gimmicky as they were doing the first couple episodes, and then you had the Dragon Gate storyline.
Yeah, it's you guys want to hold on to this, huh?
Yeah, between this and that random big guy having electricity in his eyes when he showed up the first time, at the very end. Right. Yeah. Other than them two things, they kind of
look, it's rated.
This is the thing now. 2019 me. I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the absurdity of
Well, we don't get it anymore.
Exactly. It's exactly because if I were to get it in a legitimate story now in WWE, I'd be like, this is so fucking stupid. I forget what the hell, which one it was. It was one of the most recent ones. I think is when The Rock returned. Before WrestleMania 27. Yeah, right before WrestleMania 27.
Oh,
and they were announcing him. I'm not The Rock, I apologize. Chris Jericho. When Chris Jericho's one return before 28, they had the...
Save us.
Well, with the kids, but when it was in the arena, they had the camera shaking like there was an earthquake, and but nobody in the audience is just everyone's going fine, but they're shaking the camera. It's this is too fucking stupid. But looking back at this shit now, where the absurd CGI, the explosion stuff, I fucking love it.
Well, I think it's also too when you Lucha Underground does a lot of that, and from the little bit I watched of that, they commit, man. They commit, this dude's a demon. They're like, all right, yeah, let's go. It's fine. But that's it sells itself as an episodic series too. It is wrestling, but at the same time, it also is it really lays into the soap opera and things like
that. That's a big thing, and why I want to I haven't watched as much Lucha Underground, but it's it's more storyline driven than wrestling driven.
Yeah,
which is I think better for it to get more casual fans into it because you can follow a story rather than just being impressed with the wrestling. Alrighty, so that was episode 6.
Hold on. Before we finish, you gotta talk about the end.
Oh yeah, the scrub
with Ricky Banderas and Pac, or Six Pac, were beating up Vampiro, and then Suicide came out.
That's right.
And it ended with Banderas throwing Suicide off the top of that thing, and then he spit up blood.
Oh God, I forgot that.
He hold his eyes back, spits blood. He got hurt apparently.
Because Suicide almost missed the boxes.
Yeah.
If you noted, like they had like the big boxes set up for him to fall in. Banderas throws him off the top, but he hits like the far corner of the boxes, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, he almost died.
Yeah, I know they were going for creepy. It looked like he was having a seizure. As somebody who has them, you bite on your tongue, you bleed from the mouth, and your eyes roll from the back of your head.
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't look as creepy.
You're our podcast Undertakers. Yes, you're our Ricky Vendetta.
You know what? It's oddly cold here. That makes sense. It makes sense.
That's the heel. That's the heel turn you talked about earlier. Oh man, I forgot about that. See, so I when I was watching through it, again, I didn't take as details note as you guys did, but I remember all these things. I just forget which episode they fell into, and it's also because I watched them consecutively, one after another. Yeah. Alrighty, so what numbers? Episode 7 was Los Pont the white essentially like the white ripoff Mexicans,
basically like Americanized Mexicans.
American
I guess they're taking it back again. They're just taking that word back, like
against the Filth and the Fury. That was fun. Again, anything with Matt Cross and
Teddy Hart,
they were
the MVPs of the show.
They really were. They really were. Quiet Drive was your musical guest for this episode, and I had forgotten about them until I was watching this. I was like, holy shit, I used to listen to these guys. I remember buying their CD.
Probably like a sampler CD.
Oh, yeah. you probably got it on a sampler CD. What were the other matches on this episode?
Cartel versus Eric Cannon and Vic Grimes.
Yes.
Bad camera shaking. I wrote that, because anytime Vic Grimes hit a move or hit the mat, the camera's like, this fat motherfucker's destroying this place. I'm like, what the? He's not an earthquake. What are you doing?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like an earthquake effect every time he...
bad selling. Masked woman attacks a cholo. Cartel wins. That's what I wrote on that.
So, and that's what I thought. Vic Grimes was in WWE as a drug dealer character along with Draws and Albert. And feuded with God, which I don't remember this.
I don't remember either. He looked familiar though. It was killing me. I was like, and I knew the Vic Grimes name from Independence,
but I don't remember this drug dealer character. Mm-hmm. They said it was short-lived.
Of talent, because I mean, he was actually he might have been this episode, but walking the top rope.
It was so impressive. He was impressive in the ring, for a really big dude, like a Viscera or
Vader.
Is this the one where the announcers were like, "Oh, this is called a tightrope walk"?
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
They were just very blatant.
That's what we're gonna call it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
I regret
they keep making WWE references. Why not just make the reference?
I regret not piecing, jotting down some of the fucking terrible shit they said.
It was most.
There's got to be someone right online who's just
like a 5-minute clip of the best of.
Was this the episode where Vic Grimes got exploded also, or is it?
Oh man, it happens every episode.
Because I know they threw him into...
No. This is episode 8, right? Or something like that. Yeah, they have another match. Episode 8 or 9, they have another match.
Oops.
And he, gets thrown into...
Spoilers!
I know.
It'd be funny if they would just, he gets thrown into the explosive and then they cut to the end of Jaws and then back to the action.
Yeah, exactly. All the fake explosions. Yeah, Jesus Lord.
I think this episode had, the least as far as, extras. If I remember... having one here, I literally have that, the match we just talked about, the whole Lizzie Valentine, Matt Seidel thing. Then Matt Seidel wrestles a match, and then after it is another Lizzie Valentine, Matt Seidel thing. It was just, it wasn't, you didn't get a lot of extras, which at this point you didn't need it, because you did have other stuff happening throughout the episodes. It was more that first episode.
What do you guys think of that storyline? With building as the high school or college sweethearts who Lizzie's always has a wandering eye. I was like,
I think Six Pac was one of the worst people to pick as the other guy.
Scorpio Sky would have been the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in there that would have been.
Yeah, I thought they were building Evans to be that person.
They probably picked Six Pac to build up Seidel as
smart,
as the name. Looking at it from Smarky 2019 eyes. But it's a generic storyline. It worked. They were building it from the beginning.
My
only issue is, and it's just Matt Seidel's a shorter guy. Lizzie Valentine. I'm just come on, height wise, he's gonna go with someone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. It instantly created a heel for Seidel. They played both of them together. Those characters played so well together, off each other as the QT couple. They would dance together and stuff like that. I was like, this is terrible. I love it. Like, this is terrible in a character. Like, not as like acting wise. Like, this is perfect. Like, you guys sold him as a heel so quickly and so well. I was like, man, as I'm used to Seidel as a good guy. Yeah. In WWE, they only portrayed him as a good guy, and then like seeing some of his heel work in Impact last year, I was like, oh.
Plus, guys like Seidel is always like, even in like the indies and stuff, like it's always hard to necessarily portray them as a heel because everyone's going to cheer when you see him do shooting star press and stuff like that.
How terrible was that set with X-Pac talking to the chick in the back room?
Yeah, was there trash behind you?
It looked like a cardboard wall, like with a fake door. It was fucking. You know what I'm talking about? The last part.
This is the episode I forget the lead. Like this might have been one of the ones where I was rushing through to try to watch everything.
Well, this is about when I started. This was about when I started doing that. The one thing I did notice, which I don't know if they've referenced, and anybody that watched the full match can hopefully help me with this. In the main event, Chaos comes out with the disco ball. Did they give any reason why?
No.
Other than he just wants to randomly bring it out. I know he uses it in the match, obviously.
Yeah, there's no build-up, but like they messed with the disco machine the previous episode. Like, they punked him out for, like, no fucking reason.
But there is no reference, right, in the match?
Other than that, yeah, like, he doesn't, like, steal their disco ball. But he's like, he's got the disco ball. I was like, did he beat him up for it?
Yeah, did he steal it? Yeah, but he came out.
Are we not talking about
you
this?
would think the announcers would say, oh, he probably took it when they were messing with it. Like, there should have been some connection made to it, and there wasn't.
Because immediately in my head, the announcers did nothing to help. Like, I was like, is this going to be a storyline fight? Because that's cool, then. And it was like, no, nothing. Yeah. Nothing at all. This is the most, I think, forgettable episode. Because I have the least notes. This one and the next one, like 7 and 8, I have like the least notes. I'm like, that's not good.
Well, I think it shows because it's also just it was getting harder to watch for me.
I'm just waiting for the match. Like how Mike was like, they try grounding it, and then the next episode they're gonna have the most fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It might just be coming up.
Is it the unaired one? The exploding cage match?
No. It's the Piranha death match.
That was the
That's the first match of that episode. Too.
Yeah.
They're both death matches.
Yeah, I was separating. I thought one was like one of the. Okay.
No way! A TV show is going to put these two matches on the same.
They used all their money in episodes 1 and 10.
Yeah.
Well, they're setting it up because they put the dead piranhas on people on their back.
I guess the comedian commentator was like, "This is an Italian thing. Mexicans are doing." I was like,
"They're stealing it from us."
Every time they cultural appropriation. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
So our next episode was probably, other than the first or second episode, biggest episode. You have Ricky Banderas versus Vampiro for the Wsx Championship, highly touted champion.
Yeah,
prestigious.
It was the biggest because Pitbull was on.
Yes,
Mr. Worldwide. I think I put Mr. Worldwide.
Honestly, if I can remember, one of the more active.
Yeah, you can actually tell he was like a
yeah.
Oh, man.
So Banderas beating Vampiro for the belt.
It was alright. Yeah, it was decent.
On another casket spot
with barbed wire this time.
Exactly.
You gotta take it up a notch. Yeah. You're gonna get cut and die somehow.
That was also the sandwich of the match too.
Yes, that was the sandwich of the match. Yeah. I think the biggest egregious of it was like commercial break. Talks a lot about Do It For Her versus Dragon Gate now that they're reprogrammed. I was like, why are A, you talking about this in the middle of a match, and B, why are you so stupid not to have this as a match? Like the short 2 seconds they show of it, I was like, this is a good match. This would help the episode. Why are you not showing it?
That's literally what I have on here. They go to a break and come back to Team Dragon Gate's promo of this new guy brainwashing them, and then they promote him as Sukada, whatever.
Yeah, Sukada, yeah. Because he was in WWE, right?
And he'll be in the corner, and they'll compete against DIFH on their... They're now like, hey, we're going to have this match next on online.
Then why don't you
Let's do this during our main event?
Yeah, why don't you promote and before we get to our main event, here's the this extra match.
This was possibly the biggest match out of all the matches. This was the biggest match because for
our second title match.
But I would consider this as the biggest match they had, even because it was a storyline. It was the first storyline build up to a main event to the title. just most of the matches were tag teams. They didn't have tag team titles. There was only a singles title. That was one of the biggest deals about the whole thing was everybody was in a tag team. There's more tag teams than singles wrestlers, and there was no tag team titles. I know I think this episode they finally talk about, hey, we're going to have them.
But it was it this episode? Because I thought they only announced.
It was one of the last couple. It was 8 or 9.
They only announced one. They were introducing a second title because it was going to be Human Tornado versus Jack Evans for it.
You know what? I think it was.
I think it's 9 or 10. They talk about it.
10. They talk about
when we come back, we're going to have a new title.
Because I was like, okay, that's setting up for a season 2 opener, like a debut.
Episode 10.
Yeah, I was like,
promo, new belt being made. Sad face.
We'll never know who ends up winning.
Yeah, because they mentioned it when the Cartel was wrestling. Because they say, they have to abide by our rules because we're going to have tag team titles. They kind of slipped it in there, but
which is a bad spot. And then announcing in mid-match, why would you say that? For Evans and Tornado, they're building up this this secondary belt, the TV title or whatever, cruiserweight title, and it's oh, that's smart. You guys took time to be hey, when we come back, this is going to be our big thing. This is our, I guess. I mean, they never did, but.
So episode 9 now, which is the last one that aired on TV, finished with a double count out. It was just a. It was a
10-minute time limit.
10-minute time limit.
No contest.
With Human Tornado versus Jack Evans.
Yeah. I was they keep trying to sell. Was it? They keep telling the audience to see their online content in 2007. That's kind of cool. Matt Classic seems to be in the background still. Still hasn't wrestled at this point. Because they show him, they were oh, yeah, there was they showed off their dance battle. That was on as an extra. Yes. I was oh, okay, you're, alluding to the content that you should be watching online. But he's just sitting there. I was we still haven't seen Colt Cabana wrestle. You're wasting Colt Cabana.
Well, this is a 2007 Colt Cabana also, which I don't remember much of him from 2007.
Yeah, I think that's when he was big though, right? In ROH, I'm assuming.
I don't think so.
Or is that a little bit?
They were using. He was the jobber though of this thing, obviously.
Yeah, well, no, because it had to be before then. He was in ROH because he was Scotty Goldman in ECW.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was in Ring of Honor beforehand.
Yeah, all right. So it's he's big enough. I think at that point, he's just a good comedy wrestler. I mean, he's a good worker. B, a good comedy worker as well. I was oh, this would have been fine. And I was you're not doing anything. And it was time limit draw. What the fuck?
Okay, so I'm just looking it up now. I didn't realize that I'm remembering the promos now for Matt Classic, but I didn't realize it was Colt Cabana.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's strung at I was heard Matt Classic. I'm why does that sound familiar? Why does it sound familiar?
Well, because each time each one of these names, I kind of went and looked. I was is this somebody that I should know or something like that? But that one, I didn't even think about it.
Because there was one promo in episode 2, and then they referenced them, but I don't think they didn't show them again.
From the 40s.
I wrote that in that episode. I think it was meant to be a joke. But I don't know if it was meant to be the storyline or not. I was so confused by that.
Yeah, I was
they talked about him oh, he's an old school wrestler, and oh yeah, by the way, he went into a coma 40 years ago, and he still got the same tights. And what?
They never changed him into a hospital gown.
He had the Patriot mask on and everything.
Yeah, well, what popped in my head was he said Matt Classic, and I was wait, isn't there a character, a masked character who different wrestlers have hit? And it's a homage to I was thinking, I think Steve Corino was Mr. Wrestling 3, is it? There's something, there's a Mr. Wrestling or whatever. It was a mask that keeps getting, but there's been multiple of this.
I know the gimmick you're talking about.
Yeah, so I thought that's what this was. I'm Matt Classic, this has to be that. And I looked it up, I was Colt Cabana, what the fuck? You wasted him. But time limit draw, Fabian's alluded heel turn.
Yes.
I mean, he's been a heel to me because he's been running around the ring and setting off explosions for no goddamn reason.
So
I mean, the draw made sense in the storyline.
Yeah,
because
and they were so good
because the Human Tornado and Jack Evans, where they said they tied in the dance battle.
Yeah,
and they show him that, so it made sense.
Yeah, the blow off is this title match.
But then, they made it it was this evil thing that the ring announcer did. I was
haha, I got you.
It was a 10-minute time limit. It was
thanks,
done.
Orange.
I don't know. I'm happy we didn't find out what was going on there. I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't want that storyline.
It kind of got okay after the first couple episodes, and I'd be afraid of having to watch the second season of it.
Wasn't it weird that so we're on episode 9, so I guess episode 3 or whatever, after they introduced Tornado, they were like, yeah, he's a pimp. I was like,
no, he's not.
When? You never said this in the beginning. What, you should mention that early. He's like, yeah, his tornado hose. I'm sorry, what? What? Okay.
He had balls of steel too.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool.
All right,
him and Joey Ryan, man.
Now this is the thing. The unaired match was probably the most exciting episode that they had there. So first off, and this is just going to be me, Newfound Glory is your musical guest.
There you go.
Come on. Jordan and Cyrus were on commentary, which is kind of funny to me personally because I think they all kind of like wrestling, but Chad is probably the biggest wrestling fan of the batch. He's one I think I want to get on if we ever can get an interview with him to talk wrestling. Is the bigger one, but he wasn't commentating on it. So
of course, yeah.
Newfound Glory was there, so
thanks,
shout out. This one, only had 2 matches. 2 small scaled matches: a Piranha match and a I forget what the hell the exploding cage time death match.
Exploding steel cage match time bomb.
Yes.
The cage was lined up with explosives. So
explosive, and then if someone pressed the button,
technically, I think we're accessory to murder because we all watched it. Right?
That's what I said. I was just like,
we blew up the ring.
So let's get to the Piranhas first.
Yeah.
So
apparently, this is a normal match. By the way, this is very typical. Yeah. No, I thought there was them just trying to be
funny,
edgy and stuff. Piranha matches happen apparently.
Yeah.
I think in Mexico and maybe Japan. I was like, why?
So basically, there's a fish tank right outside the ring with piranhas in there, and the idea to win it was you had to throw your opponent into the piranha pool, and they had to be in there for 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. So they cover. So what were the teams in this match?
Cartel and the Pochos.
Okay, so I know they threw them in and they covered them with a. Well, here's the one thing I did like. They used the pallet.
Yeah.
Block people from falling in.
Good.
And then they used the pallet to cover him to lock him ultimately in. And then he's jumping out just going crazy. He's everything's... I was like, there's no fish on you.
Yeah.
I'm like the beta fish that were in there.
Yeah. Did you, what'd you guys think of the eat my ass joke? There's so many eating ass jokes in this match.
I missed that.
I don't think... it was blatant.
I told you I skipped through this one.
Dude, at this point, I'm at 15-second loop. 15 seconds.
I just kind of went to
the
end.
I missed this is... So you texting me about everything. This is 2:33 in the morning, right? You're texting me? And I'm watching it. I was like, oh, cool, someone else is awake. And I was like, I'm watching episode 10 right now, taking notes. I was like, I think I might have said Jesus. But yeah, there's I'm watching this, you're texting me, and I was like, I wrote, eat his ass joke, ? Cartel 1. Chaos had ass eaten? Because, they were like, yeah, they're eating his ass. They're eating his ass. I'm like, man, you guys don't care on this line. You guys are like, we're not coming back.
Well, dude, I loved it also because of how they all throughout the stuff they would blur out. You could tell they were like, all right, you got to drop a fuck word in here somewhere so that we can blur it out and be edgy with it. I'm just like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I was like, why? So, but yeah, there's so many eating ass jokes. I don't.
So your final match for Wrestling Society X was this exploding death cage match, which was Team Dragon Gate versus the Filth and the Fury.
Yeah.
With Team Dragon Gate ultimately winning, and to our assumption, since this was the first and last episode, murdered Matt Cross and Teddy Hart.
We are accessories to murder. Yeah,
wait,
it's watching the ring video.
You got to hear the announcers when they fucking hit the button and they close the door,
and they're like, "Get these wrestlers out of there!"
Someone say them. You get down there.
And in my head, I'm like, "All right, what about the audience?" I'm like, this is probably not a contained explosion. That's going to be in this small section.
A bunch of models in LA. That's fine.
I'm just like,
it's
what?
More work for people in 2007.
I want to see the camera work without the fucking
the CGI.
It was probably the fireworks sparklers go up. And
that's exactly all through one of the thoughts in my head. I was like, I wish I was there for this to see what this looked like live, and then to see what it looked like on TV. Because listen, I know we've done it before. When we've gone to the big WrestleMania shows, Royal Rumble,
it's so different.
Well, we watch it afterwards, especially Royal Rumble 2015 where Reigns won. Like we wanted to, we were there live and we could hear how loud the boos were.
Yeah,
I was excited to get home to watch it to see how did this come across on TV, because I remember I was texting Fico. If he was here or we were in his house, we would be able to confirm it with him now, but we're not. Thanks, Fico. Love you, bud.
Rest in Fico.
But we were but watching this whole thing, I was like, man, I wish I was in the audience because of all these shitty, cheesy CGI
that's why they hired actors, probably.
They might have had to just to say, like, all right, like, hey, when Fabian is going to do the announcement, there's going to be fire everywhere.
You wouldn't have fucking lasted
the one thing I read, too, why they had actors was there was two reasons. The interview I read. One, MTV wanted good-looking people in the crowd.
Hold on, wait. Are you telling me wrestling fans aren't good-looking people? Come on now. Come on.
No. And then the other thing was they recorded, like, early as shit on, like, Tuesday mornings.
Okay.
So they were like, there was some wrestling fans in there, but it was mostly paid actors. And they said, the one thing they said, it was hilarious because they would be there and they would have MTV execs basically saying, somebody's in the camera, move them with somebody else, get a better looking person in that position.
Nice. Love it. So yeah, you had Team Dragon Gate winning the last unaired match.
It was
Wrestling
fine.
Society Act. It was gimmick. Again, 2019 eyes looking on it. That was a fun episode. It was probably one of the most fun episodes that they had, I think, other than like the first one.
But it screams of what the whole series is, which is excess.
Yes.
Everything is excess, to the nth degree. Like, it's the sides having explosions is cool. Then there's a time bomb. Like,
wow, time bomb.
But now this is the one thing I think I might have missed when I was watching it, is how was the match actually won? Was it exploding your opponents in the ring? Was that how it worked, or was it a pinfall?
You had to climb the cage and hit the
button.
Hit the button.
That was the official way to win. It wasn't
because
just
you're like, oh, Teddy's gonna hit the button. He's like, moots up.
Oh, man.
I mean, and then I remember them leaving the cage, though, after they hit the button. Like, so he ascended, hit the button, they came down, they walked out the front door, and then closed the cage door.
Yeah.
So,
and Cicado or whatever kept coming in. I was like, is it not locked?
And it was a time bomb.
And they killed a ref, too. Because they threw the ref against the thing, and he's, like, convulsing, like, in the middle of the
That was the one thing I didn't understand. They said every time you get thrown into the ring, or into the cage, you get electrocuted or whatever, and yet they were all climbing it with no problem.
Well, that's the thing, too. I was like,
it has to be forced impact. Yeah.
I've never seen a cage match when people did not get thrown into the cage. I think maybe twice someone hit the cage. And one was the ref.
That's all they had in the budget.
Yes.
So,
I mean, kudos to like everyone involved. Like they good job. Like
they tried to MTV. I guess got on the wrestling and this is like, I don't remember 2007 being like, this is the hotbed of professional wrestling. I'm just like, if you guys want to touch on anything, I just want to look what was going on in WWE in 2007.
Well, there's the ECW revival, right?
Oh, was that?
I believe so. Yeah, because I was watching an interview with one of the creators, and he was like, oh, he talked to MTV, and this whole Wrestling Society S came from like a pitch to like a former MTV executive was going to MTV that this dude worked with. What's his name? Of course, I didn't write his name because it's 3:00 in the morning.
Okay, so
Kevin Kleinrock. Yeah, he was part of like a XPW. And he had they had death matches and stuff, and he was working with somebody who was a former MTV executive, and that dude was he's going to MTV to pitch a frat poker game show in 2007, which was, a lot of people were actually playing a lot of poker. And so
2007 was WrestleMania 23. Michaels Cena was your main event. Yeah, Batista, Undertaker. And
that was a great main event.
Yeah.
I love that match, and they didn't get match of the year. I was like, that's not their fault.
But then they one-upped it. What, you mean Batista Taker? Or
I love that match. Yeah, I heard rumors that like Batista and Undertaker were pissed because like the crowd wasn't as hot for them. I was like, you also witnessed like Cena and
Cena and Michaels, they won up their own match like 2 or 3 weeks later at that Raw, like in London, like at the Hour Classic. So just to give you an idea of when it was, but I guess that was because you had Umaga versus Lashley. Lashley was the ECW champion at the time.
Was it the hair versus hair match?
Yeah. That's where McMahon got shaved. I'm trying to
not our president.
So
I just said hair versus hair match.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the.
So Punk's debuting around this time, I'm assuming, right? In
Mr.
ECW.
Kennedy won the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Oh man, I wish that went farther, man.
Right,
I big fan of Ken Anderson.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Like, so this, like, it's funny.
It's a weird era, 2007 for wrestling.
Yeah, because
especially extreme wrestling like that.
I think this is probably when I probably was my lowest point of like not following wrestling as much as I did now. Roy, by this
I was
time,
completely out.
you were completely
I was
out.
gone.
Like, I think really, like, you and I, we would get together for the big ones, the Rumble.
The big four.
Yeah, well, not even I think the big two. Like,
Rumble and like WrestleMania.
Yeah, Rumble and WrestleMania just kind of out of like.
Or anytime Pico said, "Come over to my house for ordering a pay-per-view."
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially when
Thank
we
God
all
for
watch
that.
it.
But like again, and it's a lot of 2019 eyes. Like this was fun to go through and watch all these episodes, and like look how cheesy it was, gimmicky it was, but like I can see why it fell. It was a complete disaster.
It really was.
In 2007.
I feel like if this would have happened just when ECW, WCW went to the WWF, I feel like, there was like the hardcore ECW fans like, oh, they sold out. Like this kind of tried doing the ECW thing. Like if you watch an ECW show on Channel 48, you might see 2 matches, promos, a lot of commercials. Yeah. Essentially, this is what this was, but with worse, fucking worse promos, too much like.
And musical guests, though, like somewhat like current ish musical guests, which is for MTV, which is like a really good tie-in.
Yeah. So I think people would have clinged to that a little more, like when they were kind of disappointed. But at this point,
there are like with the musical guest portions, 3 bands I would have tuned in to just say, "Oh shit, Newfound Glory's playing. I'm gonna watch this." And it was like, "Oh, it's wrestling. Like I know wrestling. I'll watch this." As well, like you said, we watched the first episode.
Yeah, even the hip hop acts were like, we got Styles P, the clips,
and also at this point, MTV is not MTV.
No. So that's like the most musical stuff you're getting, unless you're watching MTV2.
Yeah, because I think that's when MTV2 was still playing music videos.
Yeah. Was Celebrity Deathmatch out of the picture by the show?
I think so, but I heard it's coming back. Did you hear that?
I did see that. Yeah.
Yes, I am. I hope it's the same.
I used to get down with Celebrity Deathmatch.
Love
That
Celebrity.
was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
I remember it was one of their Super Bowl halftime shows. And
that was the first one, right?
Manson versus
Charles Manson versus Marilyn Manson.
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
But then I forget, like Pamela Anderson was in one of those matches, I think.
Was it her against Carmen Electra?
Might have been. Yeah. But I just remember for whatever reason in it, her like fake boobs got punched out and they were in her hands. And like basically she like shook her hands and like they went back down and just shook like that. And it's like claymation. I just remember the announcers, "Let's see that again!" And they just kept on playing it.
Yeah, it was that was Marv Albert, right? I think
so.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. It was during that
I watched that
fun
whole
time
thing. I watched it. The one announcer has a heart attack, and then there was like a whole thing. I watched that whole fucking show.
I was so in.
It was so fun. It was. I'm excited. I hope it comes
perfect
back.
time slot. Perfect like timing. They're quick.
Yeah.
Remember the Undertaker was in that episode, and they had like a little demon calling the Undertaker by his real name. And the Undertaker started freaking like, "Stop!"
But oh man, so let's go. Would we recommend Wrestling Society X for our fans out there to give it a watch?
Being on YouTube, sure.
Once.
For free, yes.
Maybe get drunk and watch it, man.
You might start peppering that 15-second. Once you get to like episode 7 and 8, really was like kind of like I'm
you should do like maybe after this we'll come up with a drinking contest to watch Wrestling Society X.
For every explosion, you take a shot.
Just
episode 2.
Yeah, I think you could legitimately do a drink for every shot, every explosion.
Jesus, man. I think it definitely, your idea of like a drinking game around it actually sounds fun. Like, if you get a bunch of people in a room, just have like some beers or whiskey or whatever, and just like watch it. I think you can have so much fun. But me watching it at like 3:00 in the morning, my kid finally fell asleep. I'm like,
that's what. It seems like we couldn't all get together like on like an afternoon to do exactly that to watch this. But I think that would be probably the most fun you could have with it. It's
good background stuff for sure.
Exactly.
Pop it on, if you want to take a glance, and
It's a little disappointing though because there was some good stuff. There was some good stuff in this. So they got on a roll a little bit around the time that they canceled it, and you could see they got on a roll around that time.
With that good stuff, let's go around the table. What was your favorite moment from it? You think from that first season? I don't want to say match. Let's go moment,
Okay.
just because.
All right, if anybody else has it off the top of their head.
Oh, well.
For me, I'm going to say...
I know you were looking at me. But
well, that you just...
I know I'm beating at that horse because I mentioned Teddy Hart. Like, that's the first time I was really exposed to him, seeing him on wrestling. Because, like I said, I was out of it. As soon as after the merger of the big, Invasion?
Yeah.
As soon as that pay-per-view was done, I was out of wrestling. That was the last, so I really didn't see any of his work. And he actually, he's pretty good. And then,
Vampira.
That guy was like a fucking, terrible wrestler for WCW. He was the point of that.
He did hold his own pretty well in this.
And it just shows fucking X-Pac. It's bad when you can't even A-list that fucking... What was there, 12 wrestlers and you can't be...
He's not... Yeah, that's what...
That dude's a loser.
Yeah.
I was watching this and I was just like, man, at one point X-Pac was my favorite wrestler. And I'm just like,
God.
what was I thinking?
Yeah, he's...
The 1, 2, 3 Kid. Jesus. Like, yeah.
Not 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Oh,
X-Pac.
My earliest is like 1, 2, 3 Kid. Like, I was such a fan. But I'm also like 5 at that time. Or like however we were. What the hell was going on?
But, Alan, your favorite
would be
moment, possibly?
Just Human Tornado in general, because I heard about him, watched YouTube videos of him, loved his charisma, and it was finally cool to see him, on the national spotlight. I saw him in CZW Live, and he was hilarious. So, just seeing him in the national spotlight was really cool to see. He was able to show what he can do.
Cool. Carlos?
I think we're all saying the same thing, which is seeing the earliest talent, or seeing talent you're not normally exposed to. That's the best thing the show did. It is showcasing the beginning of something. It was smart. They did what, not to shit on Impact because they're doing better now. We talked about it before we started recording, but having some legends or people who are veterans. But look, you have a Teddy Hart. If you are crazy internet fan at that time, you knew who Teddy Hart was, because him, Natalia, Davey Boy Jr. were this next generation of the last generation of the Hart Dungeon. So you might know his name. He had a little run in WWE until he got popped for steroids, and so to see him and then putting him with Matt Cross, who we know now in the independents, but at the time is this fresh-faced person, and was like, man, you two together is good. And Teddy's basically ushering him, here you go, push you forward, and seeing Scorpio Sky, seeing Jimmy Jacobs and Seth Rollins, it's awesome. Joey Ryan, you could tell they wanted to focus more on younger people, build them up. So we had I wonder what a second or third season would have been with.
So the first thing, and this is where I was reading on it. They did have, I guess on the DVDs extra, they did have some stuff filmed for a second season.
Oh.
And the opening episode of the second season, or at least they recorded it, was going to be Ricky Banderas versus Youth Suicide in a scaffold match, which is playing off the storyline of Banderas throwing Youth Suicide off of the high point. So, but yeah, so they did have some stuff going, and it would have been interesting to see. My favorite, I don't know what my favorite moment is. I'm looking at it these seeing these wrestlers that are pretty popular now, growing up, but then just the absurdity. Honestly, the tombstone pile driver into the exploding casket is just that was my favorite moment, just because I think it just summed up the show so well.
Yeah, I would go with that too. 'Cause it's fun when it goes crazy.
Yes.
But every episode went crazy. I think if they just maybe every other episode, it would have been fine. It was so much, and it was it was exhausting almost. It was
that's where it got towards the end, how we were saying, skip 15 seconds. Skip
earlier in that episode, I'm sure there was something I probably have notes on it. There was probably something super crazy, and it was if you don't do that crazy spot before,
super crazy wasn't it though?
Nah.
But all I'm saying is, man, thanks for coming.
You were doing so good.
It was so unwanted, and you just got to get it in. Yep. It's his hands started shaking. He's God damn it.
Come in soon.
Mike's trying to find something. No, Mike's trying to find something down there. Did you find it?
Yeah.
A good part of the show.
And I can't just pick one part, unfortunately. But my biggest thing is the storylines. I enjoyed most of the storylines. The funny thing is you loved it, Walt, because of the absurdity. I felt like those storylines could have been way better had they not been so absurd. Like, if they toned down those storylines just 15%. I'm talking about the Dragon Gate thing would have been awesome.
Yeah.
If that was the only thing.
Had it not been so... It seems so out there. Yeah. Like, if it was just like, okay, they came back, and now they're dominating the tag team division. What the hell happened to them there? Yeah. But then you come with the exploding cage, and it's like, come on.
Like, I've been saying it, like, the way I've looked into this is not as... Like, I know this was a failure, and I'm just going in it for the laughs and, like, the absurdity of it. Like, I'm not looking for any legitimate... Like, I think the more legitimate storylines there were is what deterred me away from it, because I was like, I really don't... Like, none of my favorite things was, like, the main event, like, the main event, because the main event kind of for the championship, those were all legitimate storylines. Like, the closest gimmicky thing was, like... Banderas was bleeding from his mouth or whatever like that. You know, the exploding tombstone pile driver was a little bit absurd just because of the explosion, but like the storyline building up to that worked. Like, especially like 6-Pac coming back out, like interfering matches, one in Vampiro, it building up from like and then even X-Pac or 6-Pac versus Human Tornado because that's who he took out in order to do it. Like all that made sense, and I was like, I don't really care. I want to see the ring blow up. Yeah. And I want to see the fucking Fabian guy just run around acting like...
God.
That dude must have taken so many Advils after doing that, because I got a headache from, like, yelling like that.
Dude, it was... to start every episode with like that, I was like, oh, here we go again. Let's do it.
Here we go again.
Yeah, punch me in the face.
Like you said, you looked at it that way. The potential was there, and it was upsetting. To like, I realized why it was canceled.
Yes,
but like everything you just said, you take the explosion out of the casket, and you just have the casket, the tombstone in the caskets. You don't have lightning come from his eyes.
Yeah.
You don't have him drool blood. Like if you take all that out. That's a great storyline. They had the backstory. They didn't talk that much about it, but they showed a little clip. And that's all you needed, and you kind of understood, like, oh, okay, he did this to him, you know? And it
I'm
just
scarred because of you.
Yeah, it had potential. I know you want to look at it as it was failed, and I just want to have fun watching it. I'm just looking at it like, oh my god, they could have been so much better.
Something I didn't even write down, which I should have, but something I like, every time they introduce someone brand new, they would have a photo and be like, oh, this person's from here, he has this title.
Oh yeah,
or like he's a former XPW, he's a former WWE champion.
Well, they did very good at referencing their previous works, which is like, I think in most indie promotions you get that. Yeah. Like the closest you get in WWE is when they do it in NXT.
NJPW. No, they've mentioned NJPW, New Japan, a few times.
In WWE, but it's usually with like the bigger guys that have done well in NXT. Like Nakamura they mentioned in New Japan. On the WWE side...
With Tommy, they never mentioned he was in Noah, because...
Who? Tommy.
Yeah, he was in Noah.
But the bigger ones, but yeah, you
Kurt Angle just was not wrestling for like 13 years.
That's
so weird.
Like that. Same as not Goldberg. Who the hell?
No, they mentioned with AJ Styles when he came into the Rumble. They talk about how he's.
They never talk about Impact. They always
talk about New Japan.
Yeah, they always talk about New Japan, but they never like those 30. Like, yeah, he wrestled everywhere.
Yeah, all over the world.
ROH, yeah, he wrestled for ROH. Wasn't he wrestling somewhere else?
Well, any final thoughts? Because we can probably wrap this up. This has gone a lot, actually, kind of timing wise. What as I expected, like only an hour 40, so not much better than I figured we would be going 3 hours on some of this.
I mean, we really got into it. Did every episode? I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
So, any other final thoughts on Wrestling Society X you guys want to share?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in
Peachy.
Yeah, rest in Peachy.
Rest in Peachy.
Rest in Peachy.
So I'll close up. First off, I want to thank you fine gentlemen for joining us today. Roy, thank you for hosting as well. Thank you for coming.
Always welcome.
For taking the time to actually watch through the series. This is something that not all of us did not have this fresh recollection of it in our minds. So we all sat there and watched it. But thank you guys for joining. Hope you enjoyed it.
The three of you have now done more preparation
than I have
in 50 episodes that Peachy has done for the whole show combined.
Wow.
I'm not going that far. That's I would say they've done more preparation than I have. Because that's the truth.
Well, you brought the electronics here to Roy's house, so that's more
As
preparation.
usual, I just buy shit and kind of look cool. So, so we, as expected, Mike and I have no idea what we're doing next week. We kind of build up mostly to do this, and we'll.
I say we do a celebrity deathmatch episode.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah.
We just come up with ones we want to see.
Maybe 75. Yeah. Episode 75.
By then, Celebrity Deathmatch will have been here and gone.
Probably.
Again.
Probably. So, I got nothing else to comment on. Respez, you got anything you want to sign us off with? Or we'll hand it over to the awkward sign off.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you really enjoyed this. This was a fun one. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. We'll figure out what we're going to do next week. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a good rest of the week. Enjoy your day. Catch you guys later. Bye.